If you do video editing, 3D modeling, or animation, chances are you know all about Blender, because Blender does all three of those things. It's an entire open source creative suite package famously known for being available for free. Anyone can download a copy off of their website and use it for any purpose, even commercially, without having to spend a dime. However, something you might be surprised to learn is that Blender wasn't always entirely free. It's true. In April of 1999, Blender version 1.6 released with a $95 price tag if you wanted to gain access to several crucial features. And today, in this big bad video, we're going to be taking a look at it. So before I dive into taking a look at Blender version 1.6, I want to give some background on myself and on Blender. Now, I've known all about Blender for quite some time, dating all the way back to when I was taking advanced art courses in middle school. But it wasn't until the virus that I gave Blender a chance, and I spent many of my early days during quarantine reviewing tutorials and creating some of my very first animations. The stuff I first made was extremely basic, but as I've learned, I've gotten more and more ambitious with the projects I attempt. I've created full-scale oceans, basic character models, procedural shaders, and much more. I've additionally begun using Blender to do lighting experiments and previs for movie projects. Working in a realistic 3D environment using a ray-traced rendering engine like Cycles has proven to become a great way to practice actual filmmaking techniques, especially when the camera system in Blender is so versatile and fluid. I'm able to do camera movements in Blender that I wouldn't have been able to do in real life without spending a lot of money on specialized cranes or camera rigs. So I would also say that it's made me much more creative in that regard. And when I feel like messing about, going wild, or just testing something really quick, there are tons of plugins and add-ons and template files that make it incredibly easy to import objects or models from existing media and try things out. I'm not gonna lie, I've spent a lot of my time just throwing video game characters like the Fortnite werewolf into Blender and just trying out shader tests on them. I've probably done it so much because they're characters that I already know they move, it's very easy to do, and because I also have a kind of a soft spot in my heart a little bit for SFM, which maybe one day I'll do a video on, so get subscribed if you're not already. Now, I am still very much a beginner. Blender 3.0 is incredibly user-friendly, building on 2.8's UI overhaul, so I frequently still rely on context buttons and search bars to find what I'm looking for. I knew going all the way back to version 1.6 would be a challenge. However, what I did not expect is that I would be starting the challenge off by just trying to get Blender 1.6 to run. It turns out that software written in the year 1999 is not easily executable on modern operating systems. Who could have guessed that? I'm sure there is some way to get it to run on Windows 10, but I figured the easiest and quickest solution to this problem would be just getting a virtual machine set up. I'm not gonna lie, I hadn't touched a virtual machine since I was a little kid with a netbook learning what Linux was. So going back and setting up a virtual machine again was pretty nostalgic. So much so, in fact, that once I got Windows XP installed, I spent time playing all the games, getting 1,000,000 points in 3D pinball, and nearly winning my first game of Minesweeper. MS Paint was a great throwback, as was Solitaire, and when all that was done, I took some time to customize XP back to what I used to have it configured to look like on my netbook. I must also admit, XP has aged a lot more than I originally realized. I didn't realize how much I had relied on Windows 10's simple Windows management system until I went to XP, tried to drag a window up to the top of the screen to make it maximized, and couldn't do it. After some time getting used to XP again and configuring some VirtualBox settings, I was finally ready to boot up Blender 1.6, where my reaction was this. Okay. I suppose while we're looking at it, now might be a good opportunity to give a little backstory on Blender. The software first released in the year 1995, with various versions being available for different operating systems as freeware. The company that owned Blender at the time, Neo Geo, not to be confused with like the Neo Geo video game systems, they actually eventually dissolved. They went out of business. Many of their projects and contracts got taken over by rival companies. Ton Roosendahl, Blender's original main developer, went on to create the company Not a Number Technologies, which continued development of Blender. But in order to keep themselves afloat, they had to change the distribution model for Blender. They released new versions of Blender as shareware. The difference between freeware and shareware is that while shareware is still freely distributable, certain actions or features will be limited or disabled entirely. Blender 1.6 was one of these versions. It was also one of the first to have a Windows release, and as such, that is what we are taking a look at today. Now, with all the history stuff out of the way, let's try to actually make something in Blender. I can't get over the fact that this is what Blender used to look like, and then this is what it is now. Like, this is a million times more. Well, even still, some people wouldn't say this is user-friendly, but this is a million times better compared to this. I don't even know what this is. Like, what is going on down here? There's just menus. There's menus everywhere. I love that this version of Blender doesn't even give you, like the starter box, like that typically people just auto-delete. It doesn't even have that. You get a plane, I think. So I think in Blender, if I want to just add an object, I Shift-A, and I can just put in, you know, primitive shapes or whatever. So in here, it is the same thing. Okay, the keybind is the same. Hi there, this is Beaver in editing. One thing I just now noticed, pay close attention to this button right here, because this is going to come into play a lot later, and knowing this, you're all going to probably hate me. Not a lot of options though. Let's go ahead and get a mesh. Well, they've actually got a lot of options, never mind. Go ahead and get a cube. There's my little cube. He's below the floor. Come up, little cube. How do I select my cube? How do I zoom in? Is there no scroll wheel zoom? Can I not do that? Is that not a thing? This is not going well. Here's a node editor. Okay. Oh, background. I can load a background image. Okay. Okay, maybe just cancel this. I don't know what I'm doing. Wait, D drive? I have a D drive on this system? What? Wait. Oh, I think I crashed Blender. I wasn't even doing anything. I was just trying to get out of this, like, file menu. What the? I'm not this bad at Blender. I'm gonna look up a tutorial. I'm gonna look up a tutorial. All of the tutorials, even when I type in Blender 1.6, are for, like, Blender 2.8 or higher, because that's what everybody uses, because those are, like, the really, you know, user-friendly versions of Blender. So I might be by myself here in trying to figure this out. There has to be, like, a manual out there somewhere, right? Oh, hold on, wait. This might be something that is not... that's a manual for an actual Blender, not Blender. Okay. Alright, well, experimentation is always your best friend. If you want to learn something, you gotta dive right in. So let's go ahead, Shift-A, mesh, Shift... Oh, okay, undo that. Undo isn't Control-Z, okay. So I guess these are, like, editing options. I see subdivide, I see extrude, smooth, so I guess shade smooth right there, maybe? Let's just try really quick. I want to see what this looks like rendered. Okay, so my render is entirely black. I can't close my render window either. I didn't mean to... Oh god, are there autosaves? Does Blender 1.6 do autosaves? Oh my god, I don't have the BBKEY installed, so it wouldn't autosave anyways. fuck? Hi there, post-editing Beaver here again. I realized that I never actually explained the limitations of this version of Blender if you don't end up paying. I'm only aware of one limitation in this version if you do not pay, and that is that Blender will not save files. There may be other limitations that I just didn't run into while I was using the version of Blender, but for now, the big takeaway is you cannot save your files if you don't purchase Blender. The way it works is if you were to purchase the $95 Blender version, you would get a special BBKEY file that apparently you drop in your Windows directory. And on startup, Blender looks for that file, and if it's found and it's a genuine BBKEY file, it'll allow you to save your files. Let's go ahead and let's see if we can get that working. So the BBKEY is just this small little text file full of gibberish. I mean, there's nothing in there. We're gonna create a new text file, just paste that in. Now, because I'm using VirtualBox, I can go in and I can set my downloads folder as a shared folder so that Windows XP on my virtual machine can access my actual downloads folder. So right here is our file. So right now, because again, we don't have the BBKEY, I can't actually save my document if I were working on something. But if I take my BBKEY file, I'll copy that, and then I'll go into Blender and I'll just paste that in. If I reboot, I should... Can't open c/windows.bb. Oh, wait, does it maybe need to be in the Windows folder? But why would they make it need to be in the Windows folder? That makes zero sense to me. Whatever, let's try it. Post that in there. Close out of Blender, we'll reopen it. Still no BBKEY. The BBKEY text file needs to be renamed to .bbkey using the command prompt and placed in the c/windows folder. Okay. Thank you, devtalk.blender.org. How do I get it to rename, though? It just wants .bbkey. I have zero idea how I'd okay. So you can apparently do it with... I didn't get the error message. Wait, am I actually able to save now? Oh my god, I think we got it working. Okay. Hey. Works for me. We'll go ahead and add in our cube now. Oh yes, sir. I know exactly what I'm doing. But you know what? After I've taken a moment to get over how intimidating this looks, this actually looks very similar to the original Blender 1.0 version. I watched a video from someone, I believe their name was Blender Grant? Greg Blends, I'm an idiot. Now, he did a video where he was showing off Blender 1.0 running on IRIX, which was an operating system used by the SGI graphic system computers. They were very high-end workstations back in the mid to late 90s, meant for, 3D modeling or video editing work. Now, nowadays, SGI isn't around anymore. Oh, it looks like the cat came in. Oh my god, what's up, Kit Kat? Oh. Now, SGI computers aren't really a thing anymore. I mean, they're a collector's item nowadays, but the company isn't around any longer. It doesn't change the fact, however, that Blender 1.0 was one of the first programs out on IRIX for those systems. This guy did a full breakdown trying to get the system working and, the program working, and I can probably use this video as like a guide to kind of walk myself through how to use Blender 1.0 because I can't really find any resources online for that. I think this is genuinely the best I'm going to get. All right, we got our cube. Let's see if I can mesh it up, yeah?
this is how you add a material.
Oh. Okay. Let's make it, I want a blue cube. I want a nice blue cube. Yeah, that looks nice. All right, you know what else we need? A light. Let's get a light to this scene. That's maybe why we couldn't see anything previously in our render windows, because we didn't have a light. How do I add, like, go back? Because I don't want to add a mesh right now. Oh boy. Back to Greg. Okay, so I have been researching for a little bit now, trying to find a way to add a light. I'm sure the way to do it is very simple, but I am very dumb, so I cannot find it. But then I had a very smart idea, 200 IQ move out of Beaver. If I can't figure out how to add a light, what if I just make the cube a light? I noticed there's an emission thing. Obviously emission emits light. Just crank it up. That's going to work. This is going to work. We're gonna get a nice render. All right, when in doubt, just click buttons. The full. Okay, yeah, full resolution. We want full resolution. Okay, maybe we don't want full resolution. I was thinking maybe like it's black because it's rendering, you know, it's resource intensive, it's on a virtual machine, so maybe it's going slow, but it's just doing nothing. It's just rendering black. I've got the camera set up, as far as I can tell, properly. You know, it should be working just fine. I remember Greg on one of his videos was saying it doesn't render properly unless you're in orthographic or perspective, one or the other. But he said it was numpad 5, and numpad 5 is doing nothing for me right now, so maybe there's a way to change exposure settings, like ISO or something. Or maybe I can go in here, maybe this isn't cranked up high enough. Let's make it 30, perhaps. Let's try 30. Oh, does it not actually let you set? Okay. So it isn't like actual, it's not like modern Blender where you can go past the limits of things. It locks you in, you're locked at 1. Damn, I was really thinking I was onto something there with that. We're just gonna press buttons. We're just gonna see what happens, because that tends to work for like Linus Tech Tips, so I don't know, just press all these buttons. Sure. Okay, we may have made this worse, actually. I mean, honestly, the fact that this is a thing that I'm doing right now is kind of crazy. Like, I don't know, the thought of like working in this environment, going from this and then like, you know, however many years later we've got this, you know, nice fluid, real-time, fully rendered graphics through cycles with GPU rendering, denoising, EV as well, like, God, Blender's gone through such a paradigm shift. Maybe, you know what, I just had another idea. I have HDRIs on my downloads folder. Maybe I can bring one into Blender 1.6, and that can give the scene lighting. I remember there was a background thing somewhere. This is very unintuitive. This like dragging system, like what? Oh, there it is, background pick. Yes, we want this. Oh, it's loading images. Oh my God. Incredible. All right, a lot of these are like background pixel images, which we don't need. Can it not load an HDRI? Does it have to be a JPEG? All right, whatever. Let's do the ocean. Is this selected? Is this how we select things, or is this? I think I crashed it again. I think I crashed it by loading that image in. I think that's where our Blender 1.6 journey is going to end. We were not able to see our cube. I wasn't able to load an image. We were able to subdivide. We smooth shaded our cube. We added meshes to our scene, you know, basic things. I don't know. So yeah, I unfortunately wasn't able to do much with the software. Again, I'm definitely inexperienced with Blender, but the UI was pretty clunky and very confusing. While reviewing Greg's video series was helpful, even still, I couldn't figure out how to get certain actions to work. In all honesty, I really didn't expect to get much done in this old piece of software, and spending any serious amount of time trying to learn it wouldn't be a great use of my time, considering how limited and outdated it is. The real reason I wanted to take a look at this version of Blender is just to see the progression of the software and see how far it's come. It really is amazing to see what they've added over the years and see, this is what it used to look like and this is what it is now. The community that has sprouted up around this program is incredible. Without them, I really wouldn't have been able to get anywhere close to the capabilities I'm able to do right now in Blender. All of those renders I showed off in the beginning, many of them were created directly by watching online YouTube tutorials. Channels like CG Matter, Blender Guru, Dylan Neal, and many more have taught me tremendous amounts about how Blender works and how to get certain things going. Their work has directly helped me go from thinking Blender is way too complicated and impossible to learn to experimenting confidently and trying out new projects that I would have never ever attempted before. If you found the video entertaining or useful, please leave a like rating below and get subscribed if you haven't already so you never miss out on new videos when I post them. That's it for this video, gamers, but I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.